Hello, this is cybersecurity expert Reginald Andre, and we are on a live, and that's only because there's unfortunately been another cyber attack. And as you start to see the headlines on the news, I kind of just wanted to break it down in plain English, just to kind of let you know what you should be on the lookout for, what does this mean, and what you can really take away from it as a entrepreneur in your business. So we're going to first talk about the main one. That's the one that just came out in the news only about an hour ago, and that is that the Treasury Department has is suffering a major cyber incident, and they are blaming or pointing the finger at China and China affiliates. So specifically, they're saying that the Treasury Department, starting on December 8th, their systems was hacked by the Chinese government. Now, was it necessarily directly the Chinese government? A lot of times, what the CCP will do is that they are what they call state sponsored. So then that way they kind of just clean their hands but fund the operation. So this is what the Treasury Department is saying is that it was a China sponsored entity where they basically was able to break into the Treasury's Department computers, workstations, and access unclassified data. Now that sounds, pretty nice to say, right? Well, they broke into our systems, but they didn't get anything They only got unclassified data, so nothing to see here. Well, that's still a big concern because even though something may be unclassified, but if you're the Treasury Department, um, everything you do is pretty much important, right? You're not just making calendars and talking about what parties you're going to. You're dealing with the United States government and everything it does within that agency. So, as far as I see it, any information that the Chinese government gets from any government agency, including the Treasury Department, is very valuable to them. And also, we're going to be talking about how this happened and how you can protect your business. But I also wanted to mention that this isn't the first time China has been on the news. In fact, yesterday they were also on the news again because the FBI is saying that, hey, China is in our telecom, they're in our cell phones, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon. In fact, they announced that they were in 9 different telecom providers' systems. And I don't know if you guys remember, but I would say middle of November and of course in December, the FBI was basically saying, look, if you're text messaging anybody via, text message, right? Your messages, your iMessages, stop. It's not secure. And what they were basically saying is that, well, at the time they weren't saying who, but they were basically saying that they found that a state sponsored, which now we know is China, was looking at all of our text messages. So if you're sending out a credit card number to your spouse, if you're putting in, any pictures, any documents, anything that you're sending via text messages, the Chinese government was basically uh, capturing it. They were reading it, they're saving it. So this is now the second time China this month is on the news because they're stealing and taking advantage of us U.S. citizens. So now going back to the original story, as far as how this happened. So there's a company out there, and it's called Beyond Trust. And what Beyond Trust does, they actually do a lot of things. I'm on their website right now. They have password management. They provide what is called endpoint privilege management, which is like a zero trust type of things, privilege remote access, but specifically their remote support module. Um, think of it as in your company, you may have tech support call you, and then they're going to remote into your machine. Well, instead of the Chinese government saying, you know what, we're going to try to break into the Treasury's computer systems, that would be pretty hard, right? A lot of red flags. So what did they do? They found out, well, who is the supply chain of the Treasury Department? Who provides the remote software for them? And through that way, they were able to break into a company called Beyond Trust. And then they found out a way to then say, okay, we're going to break into your software, and now that we know you provide this software is on the Treasury, the Department of Treasury's computers, what we're going to now do is we're going to use your software to then get access to the Treasury's files, and as they said, unclassified data. So again, it's through a third party. So the news is not going to talk too much about Beyond Trust. They're just going to say the Treasury Department got hacked, right? But what it is it was a third party, which is still nevertheless still important, because at the end of the day, the Treasury Department got hacked. Now, because was it technically their fault? No, but that software is on their system, and at the end of the day, they're the ones that's dealing with it. So how this is important and what you should be doing for your business. If you're an entrepreneur, you should always be looking at the different softwares you're using, making sure that everything that is on your computers and your workstations is relevant, making sure that you're doing all the updates, and do due diligence. Make sure that these companies are following the latest and getting the latest updates, have the latest protocols. There's different SOCs and things like that that we're not going to talk about, but you want to make sure that the companies that you're using are not only legit, but you want to make sure that you're checking their code. Now, as a small entrepreneur, you may not be able to do that, but if you're the Treasury Department, there should always be someone watching someone, right? There should always be, okay, we want to see your code. We want to make sure that everything is done. But specifically how they were able to do this, the Chinese government, they were basically able to get the code on this computer. Then now they have access to the Treasury computers, and then they were just able to, hey, let's see what files we can just send, we can download into our systems. And that's basically what had happened. And again, this is now the second time that China is now in our systems. They're really taking advantage of us here in the United States. And personally, I think that needs to stop. We need to put our foot down and say, look, enough is enough. I mean, I'm not saying we need to do war or cyber war or anything like that, because that's just a losing battle for all parties. But we need to put our foot down and really put our defenses up and say enough is enough. You just can't do that. There's a red line that you just can't cross, and you just can't hack into our systems like this, because that's the red line. So hopefully this changes. Hopefully this is a wake-up call. We've seen that 2024 there's been, I think it's like over 1,000% of ransomware compared to, I think, only 3 years ago pre-COVID. So it's really doing bad. We're not making the progress that we should be making when it comes to these things. We're losing. That's just the plain way of saying it. We are losing this battle. Information, you may say, well, who cares if someone takes the text messages from my phone? Well, guess what? They're going to put all of two and two together, right? You sending out your credit card information, you putting, different trinkets of information, maybe your date of birth. Think about all the stuff that you text message on your phone to someone. Now the Chinese government has that. The Treasury Department, the Chinese government has that. They're going to put all of this together, and they're going to see, okay, now that we've compiled this, right? They're going to use what is called bad GPT. They're going to use AI and say, all right, all of this information, how can I use it to my advantage? What information can I use that can now make my country better? And that's exactly what's going to happen. So we'll keep you updated as soon as we hear anything else. But just wanted to, you're going to see this on the news tonight. The 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock news that the US Treasury has been hacked. But I wanted to kind of give a little more insight, and if you're a business owner, what this means to you. If I can help you in any way, reach out, send me a message, and let's talk. All right, take care. Bye-bye.